Section 3.8, Solving Percent Problems. Remember, percent is out of 100. That's all percent means. So let's look at this one here. A shirt costs $45. If the sales tax is 6%, calculate the total price of the shirt and state your answer and round it to 2 decimal places. In other words, to the amount that money would show. You gotta have 2 decimal places. So remember what sales tax is. Sales tax is for every dollar you've got to pay so much cents in tax. In this case, it's 6%. So 6 means for every $100 you spend, you got to give $6 extra in tax. Now, just to get a rough idea, this is about half of 100. So you'd expect your sales tax to perhaps be somewhere around, let me see, 6% of 100 would be $6. So you're going to expect it to be somewhere in the range of about maybe $3. So let's see if we're right. So we need 6% of $45. Then when we can calculate that, we can add it to our 45 bucks. So remember how we changed percent to a decimal? You could change it to 6 over 100 as a fraction, and then you know that that is going to be equal to 0.06 as a percent to decimal. So we need 6% of 45. So whenever you see the word of, it usually means multiplication. $45. There. Now it's just a simple multiplication problem. I'll write it down here. So it's $45 dot 00, and you don't even really need to put your 2 zeros there if you don't want. And you can then multiply that 0.06. So that's 6%. So let's work this out. 6 times nothing is nothing. 6 times nothing is nothing. 6 times 5, you notice I'm ignoring the decimals. So 6 times 5 is 30. I put the 0 there and carry my 3. 6 times 4 is 24. 25, 26, 27 goes there. Oops. There. So now the only thing I have left to do is multiply the 0. And of course, it doesn't make sense to go 0 times 0, and then 0 times 0, and then 0 times, because it's all going to be zeros. So we are done. We don't have to multiply these zeros. The only thing we have to figure out is how many decimal places should we have. Remember we said the answer should be about 3. But if you didn't know that, just count up the number of decimal places in your answer, or in your problem. So we got 1 decimal place. You got 2 places after the decimal, 3, 4 of them. So you've got to have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in your answer. And we round it off to 2 decimal places. So the answer is 2.70 or $2.70 tax. So that's how much extra we're going to have to pay. So let's add now together the $45 that was on the price tag, and then we're going to add that to $2.70. Remember to keep your decimals in line with each other. 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus nothing is still 7. Put your decimal there. 5 plus 2 is 7. And 4 plus nothing is still 4. So your answer, and you would have to state it out in a sentence, is you would pay a total of $47.70 for that item that you were asked up top. Okay, so that's the total price of the shirt. This one here is a little bit harder, just because the numbers are not as round as they look. It says a store is having a Boxing Day blowout. All items are 35% off. Whoa, 35% is like 1/3 off, just about. Well, a little bit more. So you know you're going to get 1/3 off the price. How much is an item at the Boxing Day blowout sale if it's regularly priced this much? You got to state your answers and round it off to 2 decimals. So let's do it. We got 35%. So let's change 35% to a decimal, and the answer is 0.35. So we want to find out what 35% off of this. So let's take our $129.95 and we want to find out what 35% of it is. 0.35. Now all we have left to do is multiply it together and we should get our answer. 5 times 5 is 25. Put our 5 there, carry the 2. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 2 more is 47. 3 times 9 is 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Put your 1 there, carry the 3. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 more is 13. Carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 more is 6. Now, I've got to start again, get rid of what I had carried before. And because we're starting with the next one over, we have to start by putting a 0 there first. So 3 times 5 is 15. Carry the 1. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 more is 28. Carry the 2. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 more is 29. Carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. And then 3 times 1 is 3. Now all we have to do is add them up. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry the 1. 8, 9, 10. Carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 3 more is 13. Carry the 1. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 6 more is 15. Carry the 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So now we've got that all done. We didn't have to multiply the 0 because, well, you know 0 times all of this is going to give you zeros anyway. All we got to determine is how many decimal places do we need in our answer. And let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's the amount there. So this is 35% of $129.95. So this is how much you're getting off of your price. So when you hear off of it, the word off of, you know it's going to be $129.95. And when you're talking about getting money off, you're taking it away. So let's take away our 35%, which is $45.30, because we rounded off to the nearest 2 decimal places. So subtracting, 5 take away nothing is still 5. 9 take away 3 is 6. Decimal, decimal, decimal for that. 9 take away 5 is 4. We can't take 4 away from 2, so we're going to have to borrow. Bring the 1. 12 take away 4 is 8. And 0 take away nothing is still 0. So our answer, we are going to pay $84.65 for that item. Now, if you had a calculator and you were allowed to use it, you just go decimal 35 times this amount, and you get how much you get off, and then you just subtract it using your calculator.